Hello, Algebra 2 student, and welcome to this lesson on dividing with binomial denominators. Okay, in this lesson, you'll be provided with examples where you'll still be dealing with radical expressions, but now the denominators are binomials. They have two terms. Okay, and so we'll have to do a process for that. So we'll be ready to do that in just a moment. Again, I want to thank the people at All Things Algebra for providing all the problems that you're about to see. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so here's our first problem for this video. We have 2 over 6 minus the square root of 5. Now, when you have an expression which has a denominator where there's a radical and it's an expression like that, you have to get rid of it. Okay, so in a previous video, I talked about rationalizing the denominator. Well, that's basically kind of what we're going to do here. We're going to be rationalizing the denominator, but we have to do it in this fashion. So we're going to take the 6 minus square root of 5, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to be looking for what is called the conjugate, okay? The conjugate, okay? So this is a very important word. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the conjugate of 6 minus the square root of 5. Now, what does conjugate mean? Well, conjugate simply means is that when you have what's called a complex expression, kind of like what we have here, the 6 minus square root of 5. All you have to do is you're just going to change the sign in the middle. So basically, you have a minus sign in the middle, which means it's going to become a plus. So the conjugate of 6 minus the square root of 5 is 6 plus the square root of 5. Okay, so that's what you have to do first. So you have to discover what the conjugate of the actual expression is. Okay, now why is that important? Because what we're going to do is we're going to take that 6 plus square root of 5 that we just found as our conjugate, and we're going to multiply that to both the top and bottom of the fraction we have right here. So here's how it works. So we're going to have 2 over 6 minus square root of 5, and we're going to multiply both the top and the bottom by that conjugate. So the conjugate is 6 plus the square root of 5, and then 6 plus the square root of 5. Okay, so that's what you do when you have a binomial expression with that radical on the bottom with it, or with that radical, it's radical in it. That's what you do. You're going to multiply by the conjugate. Now, what we have here is we basically have expressions. So we have an expression here. So we'll put that in parentheses, expression, expression. If you want to put the 2 in parentheses, that's perfectly fine. I'm not, but that's what we could do. So now, really, at this point, it's just about doing distributive property, or FOIL eventually, but we'll talk about all that as we go. So first, what we'll do is we're going to multiply this 2 to this 6 and to this square root of 5. Okay, so we got 2 times 6. So 2 times 6, of course, is going to be 12. And then we have 2 times the square root of 5. So it's going to be plus 2 square root of 5. Okay, so that's what the numerator is at this point, 12 plus 2 square root of 5. Now on the next part, we are going to do FOIL because we do have a binomial times a binomial. And so recalling from earlier videos, what you may remember is that you have FOIL, F-O-I-L. So remember, F stands for first. So we're going to multiply the first terms. So we're going to multiply the 6 times the 6. That's the first terms. So that's going to be 6 times 6, which is going to be 36. So put 36 right there. Then the next thing we'll do is we'll do the outside terms. So the outside terms in this case are the 6 from the first parentheses and the square root of 5, positive square root of 5. So that's going to be plus 6 square root of 5. Okay. Then the next thing we'll do is the inside. So the inside is going to be basically the negative square root of 5 from the first parentheses and this 6 right here. So it's going to be negative times a positive, which is negative. So it's going to be negative 6 square root of 5. Okay. And then I don't like that 5. Let me see if I can erase that. It's going to erase it for me. Probably not. Okay. So negative 6 square root of 5. And then the L, of course, stands for last. So we're going to take the last terms of each binomial. So that's going to be the negative square root of 5 times the negative square root of 5. I mean the positive square root of 5, right? And so therefore, that's going to be minus, and it's going to be minus square root of 25. I'll go ahead and just put 25, but some of you already know what it's going to be, but it's going to go ahead and write that because it's 5 times 5. All right, so now we're ready to try to simplify this. So what we'll do is we'll take the top, which is still the same, 12 plus 2 square root of 5, okay? Then on the denominator, we have 36. But now what we have here is we have positive 6 square root of 5 and negative 6 square root of 5. Well, guess what? Those are like terms, and they do cancel out. So therefore, we don't have to write anything for that. But we can write for something we have minus square root of 25. That's just going to be minus 5 because it's that. The good thing about the conjugate, about multiplying with the conjugate, is that middle part, when you multiply an expression by its conjugate, that middle part will always cancel out. Okay, it's always going to cancel out, and so you're just going to be basically left with the first and the last. So you may consider, and I'm okay with that. If you do a shortcut or something like that, just know that when you multiply a conjugate to itself, like an expression times its conjugate, then that middle expressions are going to go. They're going to disappear. Okay, so it'll just be the first and the last. That's all it is. So now what we have is we have 12 plus 2 squared root of 5 over 36 minus 5. Well, then we just know now that 36 minus 5, of course, is going to be 31. So that means we have 12 plus 2 squared root of 5 over 31. And so really the last thing you could do if you wanted to is you can go and write this as you can kind of separate the fraction. And so to separate the fraction, basically it would be like this. You would have 12 over 31 and then plus 2 square root of 5 over 31. I mean, if you want to separate it, okay? Or you can put the square root of 5 right next to the fraction. It really doesn't matter. Neither of these fractions simplify anyway because 31 is a prime number. Can't really go into 12 or 2. So therefore, this is basically an acceptable solution for this expression. All right, so now we're on to this problem. We have 5 minus the square root of 5 over the square root of 5 plus the square root of 3. So yeah, we have a binomial over a binomial now, right? 2 terms over 2 terms. But we're going to do the same thing. We're going to start off again by figuring out the conjugate of the denominator. So we always go to the denominator. So the conjugate of, in this case, it's going to be the square root of 5 plus the square root of 3. Remember, as I said, the conjugate will always be just switching the sign in the middle. So that sign is a plus right now. So basically, it's going to become a minus. So the conjugate will be the square root of 5 minus the square root of 3. Okay, so there's our conjugate, okay, for the denominator. So now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and rewrite our problem. So we're going to rewrite the problem. So it's going to be 5 minus the square root of 5. I'm going to go ahead and put that in parentheses because that's an expression. We're going to put that over the original denominator, the square root of 5 plus square root of 3. And then now we're going to do our multiplication. We'll make our fraction. And now we'll put the conjugate on the top of and bottom of this fraction. So basically, it's going to be the square root of 5 minus the square root of 3. And then it's the square root of 5 minus the square root of 3. Okay, remember when we do this other fraction, this second fraction we made, remember we're just changing the look of it. We're not changing the problem because remember the square root of 5 minus square root of 3 over the square root of 5 minus square root of 3 is going to be 1. Okay, so we're just changing how it looks. All right, now we're going to go ahead and also and put parentheses around these because we basically have an expression. So we have a binomial times a binomial on the top and another binomial times a binomial on the bottom. All right, so once again, we're going to do FOIL, and let's just do FOIL right now. So I'm going to make my big fraction right here. So we'll start with the first one, 5 times square root of 5. So 5 times square root of 5 is 5 square root of 5. Then we got 5 times negative square root of 3. So that's going to be basically negative 5 square root of 3. Okay, now we're going to do the inside. We did, inside now. So we got the square root of 5 times the square root of 5, but it's negative. So it's going to be negative. Let me do my thing here. So, yeah. So it's going to be negative the square root of 25 because 5 times 5 is 25. And then we got negative square root of 5 times negative square root of 3. So a negative times a negative is a positive. And then it's the square root of 5 times 3. 5 times 3, of course, is 15. So that's what we have at this point. All right, so we got the numerator for right now taken care of. We'll simplify some more in a moment. Now let's deal with the denominator. So we're going to have first we're going to have the square root of 5 times the square root of 5 times the square root of 5. And again, remember that's just going to be the square root of 25 because 5 times 5 is 25. Then we got the square root of 5 times negative square root of 3. So it's going to be a negative. It's going to be square root. 5 times 3 is going to be 15. So that goes right there. Now we're going to do the next part, the inside. So we're going to have negative. I feel like I should have more colors in this, okay? But it's okay. We're going to have the square root of 3 times the square root of 5. So that's a positive. And again, it's 3 times 5, which is going to be 15. Okay. And then we're going to take the square root of 3 and times it by negative square root of 3. So that's a negative times a positive. That's going to be a negative. And then 3 times 3, see, 3 times 3 is going to be 9. Okay. So this is what we've done so far. We just multiplied the conjugate of the denominator to both the numerator, the original numerator, and the original denominator. Okay. All right. Let's see if we can simplify anything. So on the top, we have, we still have 5 square root of 5, 5 square root of 3, square root of 25, of course, is going to be 5. And then 15, we can't really break up. It's just 3 times 5. So basically, we can just rewrite the numerator as 5 square root of 5 minus 5 square root of 3 minus 5 plus the square root of 5. I mean, square root of 15, excuse me. So it's going to be square root of 15. All right, so we don't, so like I said, there's really nothing we can do on the top right now, except, like I said, simplify that square root of 25. That's all we got. So there we go. Now, as far as the denominator is concerned, remember I told you that if you multiply an expression by its conjugate, then the middle terms basically are going to cancel each other out, and that's what has happened again. So we're going to go ahead and just cross out the negative square root of 15 and the positive square root of 15, and then let's simplify the rest of it. So we have the square root of 25. So square root of 25 is just going to be 5. And then minus the square root of 9. Square root of 9, of course, is going to be 3. All right, so this is where we are at this point. We have simplified the numerator as far as we could. We've simplified, and now we have the denominator simplified to 5 minus 3. So now the next thing we do is just, again, there's nothing we can do on the top. So we'll just leave the top the same. So it's just going to be 5 square root of 5 minus 5 square root of 3 minus 5 plus the square root of 15. There's nothing we can do. And then divide it all by 5 minus 3, which of course is 2. Okay. And if you want to, you could separate all these, but I think usually we try not to do that when it's more than, 2 terms. Okay. So we're just going to leave it just like this. So this will actually be the simplified answer for this problem. All right, and here is our third problem for this video. We have 8 minus the square root of 6 over 3 minus 4 square root of 6. All right, so again, we do have a radical in the denominator. It's in a binomial on the as well. So of course, what it means is we have to go ahead and find our conjugate. So let's go ahead and find our conjugate of the denominator. So the conjugate of, in this case, 3 minus 4 square root of 6, okay? And so what would the conjugate of that be? Remember, just change the sign in the middle and you'll have it. So the conjugate is 3 plus 4 square root of 6, okay? So that's going to be our conjugate, all right? So now we're ready to take that conjugate take this conjugate, 3 plus 4 square root of 6, and multiply it to both the top and bottom of our original problem. So here we go. So we're going to have 8 minus, there goes my pen again. Okay. All right, let me see if I can save anything and maybe that'll help. Okay. All right, give me a second. Yep, I'm not editing it. It's okay. Hope you're doing okay. All right. So we're going to rewrite this as 8 minus the square root of 6 over 3 minus 4 square root of 6. So I'm going to go ahead and put parentheses around those. Okay. And then we're going to multiply it by a new fraction, which is basically consisting of the conjugate over the conjugate. So we got 3 plus 4 square root of 6. So we'll put that right here. So 3 plus 4 square root of 6. We'll put that in parentheses. And then 3 plus 4 square root of 6. Okay. All right. So again, we have a binomial times a binomial on the top of the fraction, and we have a binomial times a binomial on the bottom of the fraction. So now we're just going to do FOIL once more. And let's see if we can get this simplified. So here we go. So we got 8 times 3. That's first thing. So 8 times 3, of course, is 24. So we got that. Then we got 8 times 4 square root of 6. So 8 times positive 4 square root of 6. And that, of course, is going to be positive 32, because you just multiply the outside, 8 times 4, and then keep the inside, square root of 6. Then the next thing we'll do is we'll take the negative square root of 6, and we'll multiply those to 3. So it's negative square root of 6 times 3. So, of course, that's going to be minus 3 square root of 6, okay? And then we're going to multiply negative square root of 6 times 4 square root of 6. So a negative times a positive is a negative. And then we have negative 4 on the outside. And then we have square root of 6 times square root of 6. So that's going to be square root of 36, okay? So remember, the inside is getting multiplied. All right, so that's a denominator. I mean, that's a numerator for right now. So now let's do the denominator. Now, I'll go through it, but remember, when you multiply a conjugate to a conjugate, or an expression to its conjugate, remember the middle part is going to disappear. So I'm going to go in and just skip the middle part, and all we got to do is, since it's the regular expression, this is the conjugate, all we have to do is multiply 3 times 3, which is the first and the first. So 3 times 3, of course, is going to be 9. And then, because these are conjugate pairs, basically, we can multiply the negative 4 square root of 6 to positive 4 square root of 6. Okay, that's all we got to multiply. So it's going to be negative 4 times positive 4. So that's going to be negative 16, right? Because negative 4 times 4 is negative 16. And then we have the square root of 6 times square root of 6. So that's going to be the square root of 36. Okay. Again, there's no reason to do the inside because it's an expression times its conjugate. Okay. All right. So now the next thing we'll do is we're going to simplify the expression. So let's see what we can do here. So we know we got 24. So we'll bring down the 24. Now, these two right here are like terms, 32 square root of 6 and negative 3 square root of 6. So we're going to add those together. So that's going to give us a positive 29 square root of 6. Okay, so we got that taken care of. Then we have minus 4, and then we have the square root of 6, square root of 36, which of course is just 6. So we got the square 4 times 6. On the denominator, we have 9 minus 16, and then of course the square root of 36 is just 6. So it's going to be 9 minus 16 times 6. All right, so now let's continue to simplify this. So now the next thing we'll do is we're going to write down 24 plus 29 square root of 6. And of course, we have negative 4 times 6. So that's going to be negative 24. Got that. On the denominator, we have 9. And then we have minus 16 times 6. Well, 16 times 6 is going to be 96. So it's going to be 9 minus 96. So that's what we have. So 9 minus 96. And now let's continue even further. And notice that on the numerator, we have 24 minus 24. So 24 minus 24. Let's see, did I write that? I guess, yeah, it's 24 minus 24, right? Did I write something wrong? No, it's 20. Yeah, it's 24 minus 24. So therefore, it's going to be, it's going to cancel out. They're going to cancel out. So that's what happens. So that's that. And so we have just 29 square root of 6. We got that. And then we got to subtract 9 by 96. So 9 minus 96 is going to be negative 87. Okay, you can check the calculator for that. And then the last thing we'll do is, can we simplify the fraction that is here? That's outside. Remember, outside the square root, see if we can simplify it. And believe it or not, 29 over negative 87 can simplify. Okay, if you use your calculator, so be it. But basically, it does simplify to negative 1/3. Okay, because 29 times 3 is 87. So it's going to be negative 1/3. And then you just put your square root of 6. Or better yet, what you could do is you could just simply write this as negative square root of 6 over 3. So either one of these answers would be acceptable. Okay, and yeah, that's it. All right, so hopefully that helps you do problems like that. So thanks so much for watching. Looking forward to seeing what kind of work you do for this. Feel free to comment or like, whatever, for this. But in the meantime, continue to stay strong, stay safe, and have a great day, and look forward to seeing you again on another video.